All right, everyone, let me tell you, it is a hot one today. I've got a tank top on. It's a neon green, but looking here at the camera, it looks kind of yellow. June the 12th, 2013. There's a lot going on today when we're looking at end time Bible prophecy. What's taking place now with the bear from the book of Revelation? I'm going to bring you this story. I'm going to put the link below in just a moment. I don't have coffee. I've got my water. Let's have some water. It's a hot one. Oh my goodness. Alright, now, first things first, a lot of people have been sending me messages. Pastor Dave, how come you're not covering this whole NSA and the IRS scandal? It's 666. It's the mark of the beast. The apocalypse is upon us. And the second coming. Now, I'm not going to hype this up. Now, I have preached on this. I have been telling you about this for a number of years. What I find interesting, though, with this now coming out that the government has been listening in on all of your phone conversations, they've been tracking you on the internet, Facebook especially, Google, YouTube. No, not YouTube, Pastor Dave. Yes, YouTube. We've been telling you this for a long time. But we've been labeled as you crazy Christian nutcases, you conspiracy theorists, even my own family. When I would preach on this to them, that the government is listening, they're spying on you, everything you do, through your phone, through your cell phone, through the new high-definition television. They think, what's wrong with you? You've fallen into all of these conspiracies. What I find interesting now is, yes, this is 666, the mark of the beast. This is the Antichrist kingdom that has been set up. And the apocalypse will come, but it's not coming today. Other things have to happen first. But the new world order, the one world government, and the one world religion are all being put in place. And now mainstream media is putting it in your face. We don't seem like so crazy of a Christian now, do we? We don't seem like such a bunch of nutcases or conspiracy theorists now, do we? Because now they're putting it out in the open. They're preparing you, the American people, for a full and complete takeover. But I'm not going to come on here and hype all of this up and scream the apocalypse and the second coming. I'm going to try to reach those that are lost, the unsaved, and show them the urgency now. The urgency now to avoid all these things that are to fall and to come on this earth. A time that this world has never seen and never will see again. I'm talking about creatures coming out of the abyss opening up, hideous creatures with the face of a man and tails like a stinger, locusts, and the stars falling, Satan himself falling with his fallen angels. You can avoid all this now by looking at what's going on in the world and accepting Yeshua into your heart as your Savior. The Antichrist kingdom, this is all part of it. It's all in your face now. It's out in the open, along with the mark of the beast, the RFID microchip. That is for those that go through the tribulation. It's not for the church. It's not for the bride. Unless you don't believe. If you are out here and you are preaching all of these things, and you're putting fear into the church today, that means you do not believe. But the Messiah is going to break open the sky. I happen to believe he is. And I want to bring as many now over to accept Yeshua into their heart, to come to salvation now, so they can join me as I watch this unfold from a grand balcony view. As far as the IRS scandal, that's another thing. Oh, in the open, in your face. Now, as far as the IRS, they're just letting you know now, hey, we don't look like a bunch of nutcases, a bunch of conspiracy theorists anymore. But I've been preaching on this as well. The IRS is not part of the federal government. They never have been. They are a separate corporation. They have nothing to do with our Constitution or our government. They are no more part of the federal government than the federal government. There's nothing federal about it. America, you've been had. Maybe you will listen now. What I do find this interesting, and we're looking at the rapture of the church, all of these things now out in the open. That shows the urgency now, because that trumpet will sound anytime. I'm really getting excited. I'm not going to preach on the second coming. That's down the line. That's for the Jewish people. You know how many people right in the beginning of the tribulation are going to perish? Are going to lose their life and perish? I'm not going to preach on that. I want to preach salvation now to avoid all these things. I'm going to bring you the truth. All right, now as far as all of this in your face, before we go to the bear, Russia, I was with my wife Sunday, and just how my family even feels. And we were on Dixie Highway in the town of Waterford, and here comes a whole convoy of armored military vehicles. We were trying to get our cell phones out to get a picture. We couldn't get them out in time. I'm talking camoed out, camouflage Jeeps, Humvees, armored vehicles riding down the road. And right away I put it on Facebook, and all my family, who I love dearly, oh, what's wrong with you? It's probably the National Guard. They're on a training mission. There is no training area where I live in this location that they would be riding down the streets of Waterford, Michigan. More in your face. But all these things must come to pass. What's going on with the bear? All right, are you ready for this? Now, we know about the protests, and they're trying to overthrow the government now in Turkey. Anti-Putin protests. Thousands march against Russian president in Moscow. And I'm a little bit worried about this, because we know that Damascus will become a ruinous heap. We know that people are rising up against Assad. Prophecy tells us that this is going to happen. We know that this will be fulfilled, but Damascus will cease to exist, will become a ruinous heap. But when we're looking at a world superpower like Russia and China, we've seen what happened when the people protested in China. And they try to overthrow the government, or they just try to speak their voice. What happened? So many lost their lives. You got a superpower, a giant superpower like Russia, the bear, and the people are going to protest. My prayers are with them. I can't see it turning out good. But it's all part of the end times and the New World Order, the Antichrist kingdom. We're going to talk about that in a moment. Coming out of Moscow today, thousands of Russian opposition activists marched through Moscow on Wednesday, decreeing President Vladimir Putin's authoritarian rule and calling for the release of people they consider political prisoners. The March on Russia Day, a national holiday, was to show support for 27 people arrested after a protest turned violent on the eve of Putin's inauguration more than a year ago. 16 of the defendants have remained in jail pending trial on charges that could send them to prison for up to 10 years. The arrests, especially those of ordinary Russians who had joined the anti-Putin rallies for the first time and who had in some cases seemed to have been grabbed at random, appear to have been part of Kremlin efforts to clear, or rather to deter people from joining any future protests. The estimated 10,000 to 15,000 protesters who turned out Wednesday were fewer than the 100,000 or more that rallied against Putin before his election to a third term, reflecting a wariness that has been taking the steam out of the protest movement. It looks like they're trying to downplay it now. Russia is the news agency. But the turnout was still higher than many had expected. You can't sit at home when the government begins repressions against ordinary, decent citizens of our country, people who don't want to live in this swamp. There's more to the story, and I'm going to put the link below. When you are trying to overthrow a superpower, look at the people of the United States, you got to understand that. A superpower. Look what happened in China. Look what happened. Look what would happen in Russia. I just don't see it turning out good. These are the end times. Believe me. When we're so quick to blame God. We're looking at the storms through Moore, Oklahoma, these tornadoes. We're looking at the chemtrails raining these poisons down upon us. This is all part of the 666, the RFID microchip, the mark of the beast, the New World Order, the one world government, the one world religion. It is the Antichrist kingdom. Yes, our government that's spying on us, listening in on our phone calls, they have the technology through HAARP and through Project Bluebeam to manipulate the weather to create a super tornado, to have it run through and kill all of these people, as we've seen in with Hurricane Sandy, with Moore, Oklahoma. And it's funny, there was a military base not far, and they zapped the tornado, and all of a sudden the tornado dissipated before it hit the military base. We have the technology today through the chemtrails that are killing us and poisoning us because of Agenda 21, and they want to reduce the population. They want everyone to be compliant. They only want a certain amount of people left here that will take the mark of the beast willingly and fall into the Antichrist and worship the Antichrist. They have the technology today through the chemicals, the barium, and that is in the chemtrails, and how they manipulate the weather with HAARP and tornadoes and tropical storms and hurricanes, to where they can put a hologram in the sky and you will believe that it is either an alien invasion, or they can put a hologram of Jesus, of Yeshua, in the sky. Because Satan is working overtime. He's going to have to explain, where did all these people go when the rapture of the church takes place. That's where my focus is now. As far as the New World Order, the one world religion, look, we have the Pope now, and he is a Jesuit. And you have to think of prophecy. But it's a prophecy from a Catholic priest, Malachi. You got to remember what his prophecy was, that this would be the last Pope, Peter the Roman, Petrus Romanus. But the city on 7 hills would be destroyed, and the terrible judge would judge the people. So they are buying up land in Jerusalem, the Holy Land, Bethlehem, where our Savior was born. They are buying up property and buying up land, and Israel is going right along with them as a tourist attraction, a way to profit, to make money. The Catholic Church is setting up a house in Jerusalem. Now they have a seat for the Pope in the tomb of David, where it's believed that the Last Supper was held. Now, who's behind this? The Order of the Jesuits, who the Pope, he has to, he is held accountable to the Supreme Leader, who is the Black Pope. They are the ones behind buying up all the land in Jerusalem. There's just so much happening. Please, if you are not saved, accept Yeshua now. Send me a personal message. It's not too late. You can avoid all of these things. I'm not going to hype it up, what's taking place, everything in our face now, preparing us for what is to come. Brothers and sisters, the next major event, don't run to and fro. Look up. The next major event is going to be the rapture of the church. And I'm not worried about the apocalypse. Going through this, it's not for us. You know how many people are going to perish right in the very beginning? I want you to have a grand balcony view as we watch this unfold, and as we wait, as we watch the apocalypse, and as we come back, as we return 10,000 strong on white horses bearing our crowns with our beloved Messiah, as he touches down, as he steps foot on the Mount of Olives, and he does battle with his vesture dripped in blood in a land called Megiddo, the Battle of Armageddon. We come back with him, and we're going to march with him when he does his victory lap on the Mount of Olives. Leave me comments, everyone.